What if I told you one of the most resilient snowballing value engine commanders in Boros costs less than $1 per card on average? Hey, I'm Paul from Missing Lands and I absolutely adore Commander. When I'm really vibing with a deck, I'll sit down, take it apart and see what makes it tick.
Just wanted to interrupt myself to say that I've decided I'll do a giveaway. Winner gets the deck. The deck list's down in the description. All you have to do is like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. More details on my Instagram. Check that out. There's some okay stuff on there as well. Good luck with everyone who enters. Draw will be about 2 weeks, I think.
So pull up a chair, get comfortable and let's see what's what. Today we're looking at Feather the Redeemed. A commander that turns graft chaff into engines, turns cantrips into inevitability, and turns budget cards into a machine that is unbelievably difficult to grind out. This list averages under $1 per card, and once it gets going, it absolutely doesn't feel budget. Feather doesn't cheat mana, she cheats on attrition. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery that targets a creature you control, it gets exiled instead of going to the graveyard, and then it comes back to your hand at the next end step. You don't lose the spell, you rent it. And here's where this becomes real. This isn't just value on your turn, this is value every turn cycle, on everyone's turn. If you cast Defiant Strike on your turn, Expedite on the next, Shelter in response to removal, that's 3 spells cast, 3 triggers, 3 pieces of value, and you still get all 3 cards in your hand. It's not replacement, it's compounding advantage. You're not trading resources, you're stockpiling them. And because of that, one protection spell with mana open makes this deck stunningly resilient. If you have God's Willing and 2 mana available, your opponents don't just have to remove Feather, they have to remove her through protection that you will get back at the next end step. They aren't fighting for your battlefield, they're fighting your entire hand, and that's much harder. Now let's talk ramp. Because this deck doesn't ramp like green decks, obviously, it ramps in 2 different ways. First, classic Spellslinger ramp, Stormkiln Artist. Every instant and sorcery becomes a treasure, and because your spells keep coming back, you turn cheap cantrips into long-term mana production. Stormkiln isn't cute here, he's explosive. But the second form of ramp is the one people really underestimate the value of. This deck ramps and also needs hand size expansion. Once Feather's online, you stop losing cards, which means you start accumulating them ridiculously quickly. You draw 3, 4, 5 extra cards per turn cycle and get the spells back, so suddenly 7 cards isn't enough. Thought Vessel, the Canter of Endless Water, these aren't just extra mana, they remove your ceiling, they let you scale. That's your long-term ramp. Team of Battle Rage, Unleash Fury, Titan Strength, Fists of Flame. These aren't temporary pump spells, they're repeatable lethal setups. Double Strike plus a damage doubler, that's a 2-turn clock with commander damage. And then because they come back, you threaten lethal every single turn. Your opponents never get a chance to relax. Now we move on to the truly unfair section, the copy effects. Zada, Hedron Grider is a beast. Mirror Winged Dragon, Argus Kos, Eternal Soldier. You target one creature and suddenly you target your entire board. 1 Defiant Strike becomes 5 draws. 1 Pump Spell becomes an Alpha Strike. 1 Protection Spell shields everything. And the original spell still comes straight back to your hand. This is where the deck goes from solid to terrifying. Draw spells are also deceptively layered. Defiant Strike, Expedite, Crimson Wisps, Shelter. They draw, they trigger burn, they pump, they protect, they make treasure with Stormkiln, they return to hand. Every card is doing multiple jobs. That density of function is why the deck punches above its price point. You're not paying for expensive staples, you're extracting maximum utility from pretty cheap cards. Protection is not a support package here, it's structural. God's Willing, Ajani's Presence, Boros Charm, Lauren's Escape, Fighter's One. These aren't panic buttons, they're reusable shields. You resolve them once per turn cycle, and suddenly removal becomes inefficient. Board wipes become awkward, and opponents hesitate. And hesitation is time, and time is exactly what this deck converts into that inevitable threat. Now let's talk about one of the most interesting cards in the deck, Sunforger. This isn't just an equipment, it's a toolbox engine. You unattach it and suddenly you can shoot a protection, removal, combat tricks, interaction, and because many of these spells return to your hand thanks to Feather, you don't even need to tutor them again. Sunforger compresses your deck, it gives you access to whatever you need at instant speed in a deck that already wants to hold up mana. It fits perfectly, and also it costs nothing compared to standard tutors. And finally the finishes. Seize the Day. Extra combat in this deck is outrageous. If Feather connects once with Double Strike and a pump spell, the second combat often ends the game. Chandra's Ignition is another closer. Massively pumped Feather turns into a board wipe and a burn spell at the same time, and because his deck naturally builds power through layering spells, those numbers escalate quickly. So why does this deck work? Because it refuses to lose resources, because it generates advantage every turn cycle, because it forces opponents to answer the same threats repeatedly, and because it does all of that on an average card cost of less than $1. It's not a flashy combo deck, it's a pressure deck, and honestly, one of the strongest budget builds you can put together in Boros. Feather doesn't cheat mana, she cheats attrition. If you enjoyed this breakdown, drop a like, subscribe to Missing Lands, and let me know which commander you want to see dissected next. Until next time, keep casting spells and never let them stay in the graveyard.